All right, what's going on, guys? I'm out here getting some miles in. I thought I'd take this opportunity to give you guys a quick down and dirty and what to expect at Wrap Week at Ranger School. All right, so if you guys have done any research, it's currently today, 14 May 2021, and if you guys have done any research at all, you will have realized that Wrap Week has changed a little bit. It's gotten a little longer. They haven't removed any of the events, and the only thing that I'm really seeing is they've added in some additional training and filled in some white space and kind of blended Wrap Week with like the first couple days of what you would have done at Darby phase. So I'm going to take my experience from when I went to Wrap Week, which was October of 2017, and I'm going to blend it with the current schedule that's posted on the Fort Benning website and give you guys a no shit idea of what you can expect when you go down to Wrap Week, so that you can mentally, you can get your mind right for the fucking that's about to come upon you. All right, so on the Fort Benning website, day one, it says in processing, medical screening, and battalion commander orientation. So that sounds like it's the exact same thing. When I went to Wrap, it was the first day was you get there, you drop off all your packing list stuff underneath one of the pavilions, and you just wait in a really long line with your in-processing packet and your bald head, and it takes like 2 or 3 hours to get everybody in processed. They're actually going to check your packet through. They're gonna look through everything to make sure you have everything you need to have on your packet. So make sure you have everything good to go there. They're also gonna check your haircut and make sure you have a good haircut. If you mess up any of those two things, there's a good chance they're just gonna send you home. Okay, so don't mess that stuff up. That's easy stuff. They'll also do your layout this day. The way they do the layout is pretty gnarly. They just have everybody get together and they have you quickly dump all your stuff all over the place and have you lift up one item at a time as they call it off, traditional army style. But it's really fast and furious, and you don't want to piss the RIs off, so you want to be able to get to your stuff real quick, and you don't want to lose your stuff and have it end up in your buddy's pile either. So what I would recommend there is pack out your packing list into different sections using trash bags or plastic bags, and that makes sense to you, and that way when you unpack, they come out in little sections, and your stuff doesn't just fly around all over the place, and you'll be able to get to your stuff real quick as they're calling it out. Okay, if you're missing critical items like cold weather boots or cold weather gear, stuff like that, the things that are listed as critical items, they're gonna send you home. Okay, so make sure you take the packing list extremely seriously, because that's just another way for you to get sent home on day one, and you will have wasted all your time and money and effort. But that's pretty much it for day one. It's going to end with getting a battalion commander in brief, where he's just going to do his best to motivate you and psych you up and get you in that ranger mentality mode moving forward. Pretty low threat. You won't get a lot of sleep. I want to say I got maybe 3 or 4 hours of sleep that night, but we did get to eat at the chow hall. I would expect that. And they won't really be smoking you on day one, because they want to make sure you have a fair shot at the RPFT, which happens on the next day. Quick inject: if you're looking for a physical fitness program to get you ready for Ranger School, guess what? Gritty Soldier has one of those, and I will drop the link to that in the description for this video. We've gotten nothing but good reviews with that program, so I would highly suggest that you would just get that and just stick to it, okay? Because it will set you up for success physically for Ranger School. All right, so for day two on the Fort Benning website, it's got listed the RPFT, CWST, Intro to Land Nav, and Hand-to-Hand Combat. Okay, so the RPFT is pretty self-explanatory. They're gonna put you in the pit, they're gonna cycle everybody through, they're gonna start off with push-ups. If you fail, and they're extremely strict, man, like no joke, okay? Make sure you're good on push-ups. If you fail push-ups, they'll give you another shot. You'll go into like a little holding area, and they'll give you another try once everybody filters through. Once everybody's done with the push-ups, then you'll do sit-ups, and it's done in the same fashion. And then immediately after that, you're gonna go do your 5-mile run. The 5-mile run is an out and back track. There are some rolling hills involved, so just mentally prepare for that. Don't think it's not fair, it just is what it is. Make sure you're training appropriately. And then as soon as you get back from the 5-mile, you'll knock out your 6 pull-ups, and they're gonna be standing right up in front of you. And it's so strict to the point where if you sway at all as you're doing your pull-up and you touch the RI that's standing right in front of you, they're gonna no-go you, okay? So that's the standards for the RPFT. It's pretty strict. Make sure you can do all those events. All right, we gotta do a quick pause, X. I love it when the trains go by, man. It makes me feel like I'm living on the edge. But yeah, so once you're done with the RPFT, you'll move into the CWST portion. So you'll run down as a group down to the lake and you'll begin CWST. Now, if you are even like remotely a decent swimmer, or like just you can actually go to the pool and like enjoy yourself without hitting the bottom every second, then you're gonna be just fine at CWST, man, okay? It's not that bad. You know, look up the standards for CWST, make sure you can hit those standards, and I wouldn't worry about it too much more after that. CWST, in my experience, and in pretty much everybody that I've ever talked to, will agree in saying that CWST is really not bad. It's not anything to worry about. Now, if you can't swim, if you're just terrified of the water, then you are probably going to have a problem with CWST, only because they make you swim that 25-meter swim with the equipment. You have to take it off underneath the water and stuff like that. It's not a big deal if you're a decent enough swimmer, but like if you really just can't swim, period, then you need to get into a pool and you need to learn how to swim, okay? At least a little bit. But besides that, don't even worry about stressing for CWST, okay? It's really not bad. Once you're done with CWST, then you'll move into an intro to land nav, and all that really is they'll take you out to like a little training site just outside of camp, and they'll kind of remind you of how to do basic land nav skills. I would say by this point, you definitely should be able to land nav, or you really shouldn't have gone to ranger school in the first place. In my experience, when I was there, it was more like a hand wave and like a way for them to just put more miles under your feet, because you'll go out there as a group and they're gonna walk you from point to point and they're gonna show you how to get your azimuth and how to stay on track and all that good stuff. Don't go in there with like a big head thinking, oh, I don't need this, this is dumb. Don't do that to yourself. Take the lesson that they're giving you and keep it fresh in your mind, because you're going to be doing land nav the next day and you don't want to fail land nav now. Okay, the last thing you'll do, and this will be like as it starts getting dark outside moving into the nighttime, is the hand-to-hand combat portion. And all that really is, it's like you move into the pit, the same pit that you did the RPFT, and you'll go through lessons, basic like combatives lessons, and you're not going to go there and like really learn anything. They're really just using this opportunity to continue to smoke the shit out of you. Okay, that's really all it is. So go there with that mindset. When you go to the hand-to-hand combat portion, to the pit, you're just going to get the dog shit smoked out of you the entire time. So my advice here is try to conserve your energy. Don't be like 100% into the combatives movements. Don't be like pushing your buddy to push him or herself 100%, but do enough where it doesn't look like you're not putting enough effort in, okay? So whatever that looks like to you, you don't want to get caught like being the dude that's not putting in the effort, okay? They're gonna have you do barrel crawls and circles around the pit. They'll have you do push-ups, burpees, all that stuff. They're just gonna use this opportunity to smoke you. So just go in there with the right mindset, knowing you're just about to get smoked for the next couple hours. All right, once that is done, looking back on my experience, if I remember correctly, they'll send you back to the barracks, but you only get like maybe 2 or 3 hours of sleep, because you got to be up in time to do land nav. And land nav, if I remember right, okay, don't quote me, and I think it's going to like depend on weather and the class in general, but you're going to start like in the middle of the night or like really early in the morning. Okay, so it's nighttime going into day. And if I remember right, for us, it was like starting off at maybe 3 or 4 and ending at like 8 or something. I don't even honestly remember how long land nav was. I'm sure you can find that information. I want to say it was somewhere between 4 and 6 hours, like a typical land nav course, but I do remember it being like just enough time to get your points, okay? So you do have to take it very seriously. The course itself is only maybe a mile away from camp. They'll march you over there. They're gonna brief you on all the different rules and you know, which paths you can take, which paths you can't take, when and when you can't use a red lens, what to look for, you know, all that good stuff. Make sure you're really paying attention to that stuff, because I've heard that they might have changed what the points look like a little bit now, and I think they might have changed a little bit of the rules on what you can and can't do. So I don't want to give you wrong information. Just make sure you're really paying attention to the in brief before you start land nav. But what I can give advice on is, I almost failed land nav, and I'm a pretty good land naver. I'm like pretty good at orienting myself. I've had to do it a lot in my career, and I still do it today. And I like to think of myself as a pretty good, you know, I'm pretty good at land nav. But Ranger School just kind of psychs you out, man. Plus you're just really tired, right? So what I want to say is, when you get your points and you plot your points, definitely double check them, okay? Don't be in a rush. Take your time when you're first plotting your points. Double check your points, even triple check them if you really need to be sure. Then go ahead and start, okay? What I would do, and this is just my advice, is get the points that you feel confident in first, knock those out, and then go for the harder ones. Don't try to go out like super far and work your way in. Don't try to knock out the hardest one first and then the easy ones later. Don't do that to yourself. Just get the ones that you know you can get, and use that extra time once you get those to go find the hard ones, okay? You have to get 4 out of 5 points, if I remember right, which is what I ended up getting. And I almost failed. I was looking for, there was one point that was so far out. I got my first 3 points, no problem. There was one point that was like in the middle of a swampy area, and I just couldn't for the life of me find it. And then there was another point that was so far out, there was just no time. There was no way I was gonna have enough time to get it. So I pretty much crossed it off. Well, I only had like, long story short, I had like maybe 30 minutes to make it back in time. I had 3 out of 5 points, and I'd already started telling myself, well, fuck, man, I guess I failed Ranger School. I can't find this last point, all is lost. And then like, as I turned around to start walking back, I said, nope, you know what? Can't do that. If I sprint into like, if I sprint back to this point and just get super lucky, and I sprint all the way back to the start point, then I'll make it. And that's what I did. I just like oriented myself to what like my instincts told me where the point was at. I sprinted for like a whole click, somehow landed right on this point that I'd been looking for like 2 hours. It was a miracle. And then I sprinted all the way back to the finish line, or to the finishing point, and I made it with like 15 minutes to spare. So it was just, don't quit on land nav, do your best, and you know, may the land nav gods be with you. If you don't pass land nav, they'll give you a second chance, but you definitely want to be a first time go at land nav, because if you're not, then you have to go straight into a whole nother land nav course, okay? And you get no sleep at all, and you're just gonna be super tired for the remainder of wrap week. So get it done the first time. Don't rely on a second chance, just get it done. But if you are in that unfortunate category and you have to do it the second time, just suck it up and get it done on the second one. If you do pass on the first one, you'll get to go back, you get to rest a little bit, and the rest of the day is pretty much dedicated to the Darby Mile and the Malvesti. Okay, there's tons of videos out there with Malvesti. Nothing's changed. They're gonna run you through that. They're gonna smoke you while you're doing it. They're gonna spray you with water, you know, all that fun stuff. So just try to, don't get upset by anything. Just, you know, just get through it. You'll be fine. It's really not that bad. Just do what they tell you to do, you know, blank out the pain and just make it happen. It's not a big deal. Okay, day 5, you're gonna wake up pretty early, and you're gonna conduct your 12-mile road march. Now, by this time, you're pretty smoked as it is, because you've just been doing nonstop back-to-back physical activity since you got to wrap week. And by the time it comes to the 12-miler, you're already pretty whooped. And the RIs, if it's anything like when I went through, which I'm sure it is, they're gonna be making you do like air squats all the time, just to really break down your legs before it comes time for the 12-mile road march, okay? So keep that in mind with your train up. If you're getting done with 12-milers with a 35-pound pack dry in like, you know, 2 hours and 50 minutes and you think you're doing well, you're not. You need to be able to do like 12 you need to be able to do 12 miles in like 2.5 hours, okay? Because you got to account for that being tired aspect of it. Plus it is on rolling terrain and some of the hills are pretty steep, okay? So my advice with the 12 miler is don't really try to, this is just my advice, don't try to pace yourself too much. I would go ahead and just trot it out, you know, go ahead and give it like a 95 to 100% so that you don't fail it, okay? Once you feel confident enough, like once you're at like the 10-mile mark and you're like, okay, I got 45 minutes to spare, I think I'm gonna walk it off a little bit, then that's your time to take it a little easy. But don't think you're gonna like keep a 15-minute mile pace for the entire 12 miles, because you're just not, okay? Okay, now traditionally I would say this was the end of Rap Week, but it looks like now they've added a few more days to what they call Rap Week down at Benning now. And so after the 12-mile ruck march on day 5, they start giving you troop leading procedure classes and leader task classes. So those are going to be super important. You're already going to be really tired. This is going to be, from what it looks like, your first exposure to Ranger School instruction. Okay, so my advice to you is really pay attention to your Ranger School handbook. You can write in it, you can take notes on the side, and take all the notes that you need, because that Ranger handbook is going to become like your best buddy throughout the remainder of the school. So if you need to put notes in there for reference later, even while you're on patrol or you're conducting TLPs, do it, okay? Don't try to just remember everything, because you're not going to be able to. You're going to need those notes later, and they're going to encourage you to use the notes later too. All right, day 6 is going to be an airborne operation. So we did do an airborne operation at Darby, and I can tell you how that went. If you're airborne qualified, you're going to be on the jump. So you know how that goes. The majority of your day is going to be doing pre-jump and just sitting around waiting for your chalk's turn to go do the jump, right? So that's how like the first half of your day is going to be. It's actually not so bad. It's just a regular jump. They treat you fine. They don't smoke and stuff. It's fine. It's actually not bad. They won't let you take a nap, but you know, you just sit there, wait your turn. It's like a normal airborne operation, no big deal. If you're not airborne, then you'll go, and if it's anything like it was, you'll learn how to set up a patrol base, and you will set up that patrol base, and you're just gonna wait and hold down that patrol base just outside of the DZ, and you're gonna be there to receive the jumpers as they come in and put them into security positions at the patrol base that you establish. That's how it will go. The remainder of day 6 will be focused on Ranger task training. So they're going to let you get a little hands-on on the Ranger task that you're going to have to do the next day, which is go or no go. If they have time, they'll start warming you up to battle drill training. So, you know, just basic battle drills, squad tactics, things like that, if there's time. And the last thing that you'll do is get your intelligence briefing, which is the briefing for the scenarios that you'll go into as you make your way into Darby phase. So make sure you're paying attention to that, and that you make sure you have at least a good understanding on what the operational environment is gonna be like as you're making your way into it, because it's gonna matter as you're doing your troop leading procedures and your op boards and stuff like that. Day number 7 is completely set aside for introduction to fundamentals of patrolling and battle drill instruction. So they're going to group you all together and give you some whiteboard instruction first. That's your opportunity to take notes, dig deeper into the Ranger handbook, and make sure you're understanding what the RIs are saying. After that, they'll go into practical exercises, and you'll actually go out as squads and you'll practice these battle drills and you'll practice these battle drills and make sure you're good to go as you make your way into Darby. And also, looking at the schedule, I don't really see a time set aside exactly for when you'll get tested for RTTs, Ranger training tasks, but I'm looking at it and I think it's going to be sometime in between day 6 and day 7. And I think they purposely, you know, put it on the schedule like that just to make sure that they have some wiggle room and some adjustment room. So it will be either on day 6 or day 7 that you'll do your RTTs. Now, RTTs, definitely take your time in making sure that you know how to complete the RTT, whatever it may be, whether it's, you know, setting up a claymore or doing a functions check on the 249. Make sure that you know how to do that before you go into it. They should give you a little time before to get hands on these things, to do practice, and make sure you're 100% confident and ready to go before you get in that test line, okay? Because you only have 2 shots per lane to get it right, okay? If you fail a lane on the first one, you get another chance. If you fail that one, then you fail the lane altogether. Now, RTTs is go or no go now. It's been like that for a few years. You can fail an RTT. I think it's 2 RTTs. If you fail 2 RTTs, if I'm wrong, put it in the comments. If you fail 2 RTTs completely, you're done. And you did all that rap week for nothing, you get to go home, all right? So take RTC seriously. Train at your unit, make sure you're good at all that stuff. There's a good app called Ranger Pro where they actually show you how to do the RTTs to the most current standard. And I would definitely recommend getting that app and training according to the standards that they put into that app. Again, that app is called Ranger Pro. All right, so this is also another new thing. So at day 8, you will pack up all your shit and you'll do a 16-mile road march all the way to Camp Darby. Now, I've gotten conflicting information on this. I've heard guys saying that their rucks weighed, 50 to 60 pounds and they carried weapons, and some guys got stuck carrying the saw this whole 16 miles. I've also had guys tell me it wasn't that bad. They only carried 35 pounds dry and they didn't carry weapons. So with that being said, it sounds like they're still trying to figure that portion out, and it's just sort of luck of the draw. I would be prepared for the worst and just get your mind right for having to conduct a 16-mile march with, it probably won't be a 50-pound pack. I have a hard time believing that, only because that's a long way for a heavy pack, and not a lot of people would pass that, in my opinion. So I would, but just get your mind right that you're going to be carrying at least a weapon and a somewhat heavy pack for 16 miles, and you're moving all the way out to Darby from there. And that's it. Once you complete that 16-mile road march and you get to Darby, you'll settle in and you'll move on to Darby phase. Congratulations, you passed Rap Week. Now, I also wanted to say that even on the Fort Benning website, it says that the training events throughout Rap Week are designed in a way to give you minimal to no rest or recovery, and that all training events are conducted back to back. Okay, a normal schedule, according to the website, is every day ends at approximately 23 to 2400 and begins at 0400. Okay, so that gives you an idea of the amount of sleep that you'll be getting. I don't think it's possible that you'll get any more than 5 hours of sleep on any given night. I don't remember having any of that. And I would expect to get even less than the 4 hours of sleep that they say you're gonna get, okay? I would also not get your hopes up at eating a whole bunch. If you do get to go to the DFAC on any given day, which you will be able to at least a few times, they're gonna limit your food intake, and they're also gonna limit the amount of time that you actually have to eat. Now, I'm trying to be honest with myself, and I wanna say we ate 3 times a day during Rap Week, but I could be wrong. It could have been 2 times a day. I really just can't remember. So just get your mind right that you won't be fed well, you won't sleep well, and you're gonna be burning calories like crazy throughout the entire day for 7 days straight. Now, I'm gonna continue making these videos. I'm gonna do one for Darby, I'm gonna do one for mountains, and I'm gonna do one for Florida. So make sure you're subscribing so you don't miss those future videos. It's my goal to give you the most valid information I possibly can to set you up for success, because that's really all I want you guys to do. I want you to go out there and be successful. So with that being said, if I missed anything, if I misspoke, or if anything is wrong or contradictory to what is true at Ranger School, you don't need to put me on blast or anything, okay? It's an honest mistake. But for the people that are watching this video, go ahead and just drop it in the comments. If there's a correction, drop it in there. Or if there's more input you want to give out and help these guys, please drop it in the comments, okay? Don't forget to check out the Ranger School Fitness Program if you haven't already, because it will set you up physically to get through these gates. Besides that, that's all I got, and I'll see you on the next one.